NZ Aerosports, Icarus Canopies, now Gyro. That's right, we've rebranded, and Gyro is our next generation. It honours our founder, as that's the name we knew him by, but Gyro also marks the start of a new chapter. And not to be biased, but it's going to be fucking epic. Long story short, we're more us than ever. So if you're new to the sport, or even a Sky God Ninja Turtle, welcome. I think our valiant leader Lucy, Gyro's daughter, says it best.
And we still got that fuck yeah attitude. Rebrand! Woo!
Rebrand woo indeed, Lucy. Anyway, head over to gyro.com for more info and get amongst you legends.
I was 19, broke, unemployed, and sold my girlfriend's canopy for drug money. So I thought I better sew her a new one. What a sentence, and what a story. This describes the humble yet outrageous beginnings of NZ Aerosports, the home of Icarus Canopies, in the words of our founder himself. From getting a paratrooper toy from his mom, watching parachutes at the DZ as a 6-year-old, jumping off the wharf with a parachute made from bed sheets, doing his first jump at 16, sewing his first canopy on a borrowed machine at 19, and starting to sell parachutes out of a garage in 1986, Paul Gyro Martin had an undying love for the sky. Our company started with one man with the wildest of spirits and a true blue sky dream, a renegade. In the time that Gyro created and ran the Icarus Canopies brand until he passed away in 2017, he pushed everything he had to its limits. We miss him, and we always will. Gyro is the next generation of NZ Aerosports. It honors our founder, of course, because it was the name we all knew him by, but Gyro the rebrand also marks the start of a new chapter, our next jump. Gyro is the space between sound and silence, art and science, chaos and calm. Gyro is a state of epic tranquility that transcends understanding. That moment, in the door, in free fall, mid-swoop, where nothing but the present exists. A perfect balance of euphoria and thrill. Gyro captures our passion for flying and our commitment to designing break-the-fucking-rules canopies that deliver pilots pure, wild flight. Hey gang, so I got a new book out. It's called The Upside of Fear, and it's exactly what you think it's about. It's about the good side of, well, getting scared. In it, we talk not only about the science and biology behind fear, but the psychology as well. And it's not just coming from me, it's coming from some of the best in the sport. Omar Alhigelan, Jeff Provenzano, Maxine Tate, and so many more have contributed their sometimes terrifying stories to the book to help you overcome your fear. So head to the lunaticfringepodcast.com. You're going to find the link to the book there, as well as the other books. It's available in ebook, paperback, hardback, and audiobook right now.
Coming straight from the cockpit, it's another episode of Lunatic Fringe with the fucking pilot.
Ready, set, go! Back in the can for another edition of the Lunatic Fringe podcast, and a new friend that's over in the Netherlands right now. Tell me, who the fuck are you, and what do you do?
Hey man, I'm Connor Figg. Currently freelance coaching, tunnel, sky, and generally trying to meet as many cool skydivers as I can.
Dude, you're a busy dude,
man.
man.
Quite a journey so far.
You're a busy guy, because
it feels like that way.
When I look for people that I want to talk to,
had a bit of.
Oh, please go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, I think my partners would agree with you. I've not seen nearly enough of them this year, so always telling me to do less events and spend more time at home, but so far that's not happened. So,
I mean,
man, find a balance.
If at the end of the day, if it's your passion and it's what you enjoy, then you go as hard as you can personally.
For sure, exactly. Yeah, it's something I've been working towards for a long time, so I'm kind of enjoying the ride at the moment, and maybe I'll find a bit more peace a little further down the road.
Well, I was saying one of the things that I look for when I want to talk to new people is, especially going through social media, is finding people that are clearly enthusiastic about what's going on. And there's no doubt scrolling through your Instagram page that this fucking guy likes what he does.
I really do. Yeah, it's I feel very privileged to be able to do the job that I do. I mean, a lot of very cool people. Seen a lot of exciting places. Had some slightly scary moments, but you know that's the spice of life, and it keeps me keeps
It
me
is
on
at
my toes.
it is at that. So tell me, how did it all start for you? I mean, was skydiving something that was on the radar for you right away, or was it other so-called extreme sports that led you into it, or how'd you get started?
So skydiving, I've been doing it about 12 years now, I think. I think I started in 2012. But it had been on my radar for a really long time. I think probably from when I was like 4 years old. I saw my dad, my mum bought him a static line jump for his birthday. Skydiving did not run in the family. Neither of them had ever done it before, but I went along and watched my dad do it, and apparently I just got absolutely hooked on it. So there's loads of pictures of me as a kid dressed up with like swimming goggles on and like my dad's backpack, throwing myself onto my parents' bed, pretending to jump out of a plane. Yeah, apparently I was pretty fixated on it quite young. Um, my parents even made me like mixtapes of all the 80s action skydiving scenes where they'd like cut them all out the films and put it on a VHS for me.
So they
They
were
didn't
kind
do a
of
very good job at
they were
cutting out all the swear words though.
they were enabling the hell out of you, weren't they?
Oh, they really did. Yeah, yeah. It was. Yeah, never really thought I could do it as a job. I saw like see tandem instructors when I kind of visited the drop zone for a tandem on my 18th. But yeah, I kind of went to university to study engineering, separate from that, and there I found a skydive club and kind of realized that there's a little bit more to it than just like stunt work or tandems. So
Sure. You
grew
know,
from there.
it's funny because it seems to be very much a UK thing, and I'm assuming this is where you started.
It is, yes.
Yeah, so it seems to very much be a UK thing, more than anywhere else that I've heard of with skydiving clubs and especially university stuff.
They've got a really good scene of it. Yeah, like I've lived all over the world now, and I've never seen any other like university skydiving clubs the way they have it set up in the UK. It's amazing. Like it gets a lot of kind of young students, people trying to figure out what they want to do with their lives, just experiencing their first bit of freedom from living at home with their parents, and it shows them a different path to one that they might otherwise take. So for
Sure.
me, it was a game changer being able to kind of meet other weirdos who are willing to go and throw themselves out of planes and yeah, do
Wait,
a lot of drinking.
it always seemed like a bit of a contradiction because although I've never been to the UK, I've got more friends than I can count in the industry that are from the UK, and it's
Yeah.
famous for shit weather. So, skydiving being so uber popular in a place like that always kind of made me chuckle.
Yeah, I think it's probably because it's less about the skydiving, it's more about the drinking because you spend so much time on the ground waiting with your mates to do a skydive that you end up getting to know really, really well the ones who are willing to stick around after bad weather day after bad weather day. So
Sure.
it
Now,
weeds out the people who are going to be really committed quite
of
early on.
course, of course. Now, in university, what was the original goal? You said engineering. Was there a career in mind when you grew up, or you just decided to skip that part of it?
Yeah, I was planning on working as an engineer. I did mechanical engineering, focusing on ship design, so like naval architecture. I did a 4 year degree, and I think by year four of the degree, I went to less than 3% of my lectures because I just spent the whole time skydiving or packing parachutes to pay for skydiving. So I managed to still get the degree. And yeah, as I kind of got to the end and graduated, partners and I, they were planning on going around the world living in camper vans and traveling and seeing places, and that sounded like a much better idea than the kind of more mundane engineering jobs that I had lined up. So I was
Sure.
already working as a coach at that point, and decided to kind of pursue that and see where it led.
Now, what was the draw to the design and engineering of ships?
Numbers always kind of appealed to me. I'm a bit of a numbers guy. Anyone who coaches with me, I tend to get quite technical, talking about like lift and drag and degrees. But when I was growing up, I lived in a town called Plymouth in the UK, and it's right on the coast. It's a beautiful city. It's got this lovely kind of harbour nearby. So I spent a lot of my childhood sailing, like little dinghies, and occasionally when I could convince someone who owned a yacht to let me on it, I'd go and sail with them as well. So it seemed a good way of combining my two passions at the time.
Well, and I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's a fair amount of similarity between hydrodynamics and aerodynamics. And
It is,
with
yeah,
sailing, you're actually utilizing both quite a bit because, and I never really imagined sailing until I had done a bit when I was living in New Zealand, but having a sailor point out to me what to look for with the sails and why the trim tabs were up there and all of that stuff, and it instantly tied me into my career choice in aviation, both
yeah.
flying and skydiving, and I went, "Oh, I fucking get it. Okay."
Yeah, there's so many similarities between the two, and more that I kind of discover all the time. Like you mentioned, the trim tabs, being able to understand when a sail is set correctly, how you maximize the lift, working with angle of attack, even being able to apply like when you're flying in the tunnel and you can feel bits of like turbulence and like disturbed air. How you can change the shape of your body in order to remove that turbulence is really helped me kind of be much more efficient in my flying and help other people kind of discover that efficiency as well. So
Sure.
I'm very
Well, and
grateful for that background.
you nailed the perfect word to describe it all, which was lift. And that was the one disconnect that I had thinking about sailing in the wrong way. And as soon as they described it that way, I realized that it's still relative wind. It's just the direction it's coming from and the angle you're using it at. And it instantly became understandable.
Yeah, yeah. When you realize that the sails are just wings, it makes everything work. At least for me, much better in my head because then
Sure.
I could think about basically cutting off half of a plane, sticking it upright in the water, and then learning how to generate lift
Sure.
from relative wind with that.
Although,
But when I
please go ahead.
was doing my degree, I was my final year project was working on designing a foiling catamaran system for the America's Cup. And when in the America's Cup, they kind of progressed from these like normal like sail single skin sails, and they just removed that and just put a straight up wing with ailerons and rudders and things on top of the boat platform, and the efficiency they get out of those things is ridiculous. So when I saw like the shape of these wings, it started really clicking in my head the similarities between the sailing world and aviation as well.
Well, I had the opportunity to see, I think it was one of the Oracle boats that had something similar to what you were describing and saw that and went, no fucking way.
Yeah,
And
it
then
was
to see it in action and the speed, but with the foil in the water and the wing above, it's insane.
it's nuts, isn't it? Yeah, it looks unreal, and like when they're able to get faster speeds than the speed of the wind, it feels like there's something broken with physics at that point.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it's absolutely incredible, and I mean, it kind of mirrors the progression that I've seen in the sport with the wings that we fly nowadays, and the stuff that is taken for granted now that when I started 29 years ago was, of a cartoon kind of dream because it was so out there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're living in a golden age of skydiving at the moment, and having these lots of technical people in the sport who understand the crossovers between like different subsections of the sport, like paragliding, and how we're now seeing like the supine flying position in the mutant harnesses to help people fly more efficiently. The human platform in all the new kind of high performance canopies. I'm so excited to see what comes next, because there's just innovation after innovation these days, and it's a really exciting time to be a part of it.
Well, sure, and I give a lot of credit to the fact that skydiving is such an attractive sport and an attractive community that it's drawing people such as yourself with backgrounds that are so dramatically different than the sport, bringing all the things that they've learned from all these other fields to bear on our sport. Like Julian, who designed arguably the fastest fucking canopy on the planet for gyro, brought all of his experience. Yeah, I mean, he brought his experience to bear in the sport. Now, is that something that is appealed to you, kind of going in that direction?
It has, yeah, for sure. I'm not so involved in like the technical and design side of the sport, but where I have been able to kind of use my knowledge is in the body flight and being able to kind of help people fly more efficiently, both in the sky and in the tunnel. It's given me a better understanding of flying my body and my canopy, but yeah, being able to kind of take a technical minded approach to the sort of flying that I'm doing with people, especially now that we're becoming more and more dynamic with our movements. We are able to really use our bodies as wings. Like that's the shape you're trying to make the whole time, is stretching out, like getting that chord length as long as you can to increase lift. And it's really interesting seeing people kind of come to grips with these quite intangible ideas of lift and drag, and being able to actually kind of use their bodies to see the effects of changing their shape, and being able to fly at lower speeds or fly faster in a straight line. So I really like nerding out over this stuff with my students.
Well, it's super exciting as well. I mean, as a longtime tandem instructor, I fell into, you try and break down things for your students, especially tandems that have no idea what they're dealing with. And you would always have the people that, oh, we're going to go fall out of an airplane. And I would always happily tell them, human beings can fly. We just don't glide particularly well.
Yes.
Like, we can absolutely fly from here over there. We just need a lot of altitude to do that, but we're absolutely flying. We just need assistance to get where we need to get to make that shit happen. But it's fun too, trying to break down the basics, as a previous AFF instructor, you're trying to explain to people just the basics of being able to, turn left, turn right, track and backslide. But for you, especially as you get higher level with body flight, the minutia, the shit that you guys are having to do, because, and I just made this in a comment with Lori Lubby yesterday, talking, was the stuff that you guys do now to make dramatic changes in the way you're flying in the tunnel with such subtle movements body wise is insane to me. It's gotten to the point where I can no longer tell you how you made your body do what it did because I can't see it.
Yeah, yeah, it's getting really, really down to the super tiny controls, like um, the difference in how your body flies when you've got a breath in, and then how it flies when you breathe out and empty your lungs and go concave on your chest. Down to just like the direction that you're pointing your toes, whether you flex them up or drop them down a little bit. It's those are the sort of details that are becoming more and more important as we kind of push that leading edge of the sport, and really try and discover what the human body is capable of doing.
Sure. I mean, I remember watching as tunnel flying was really, really starting to take off. You would watch talented flyers flying, but it still looked like hard work. And
Yes.
now I went down to Aeronautica to visit my friend Naomi, and Rob Jones was flying at the time. And it's
Oh,
fucking,
you know Nomas.
oh yeah, yeah. Nomers and I are great friends. And watching them fly, it's effortless.
It is.
Smiles
Yeah.
on their faces, and they're spending more time paying attention to the guys in front of them, and clearly just their body's just doing it. And it's just become this effortless thing that kind of makes me hate you guys a little bit.
I get that. I definitely get that. I feel the same way when there's someone that I'm trying to learn some move off of or replicate some part of their flying that appeals to me. It's it's like they're speaking a foreign language until you kind of find that one thing that changes it, and all of a sudden you kind of get a better understanding of how they're doing what they're doing.
Sure.
That's why coaching is amazing. But
For
up
sure.
until that point, it's definitely tempting to be a little yeah,
For sure.
agitated about it.
Well, and I mean, I've been in the sport a long time, so I understand what it's like from both sides of the perspective because, seeing low time skydivers or low time students that, struggle with stability out the door, and then
Yeah.
realizing I used to be that person, and now you could blindfold me, ball me up, and throw me out of the plane, and I'll instantly be stable. I mean, so you see it from both sides, but it's next level with what I see in the tunnel. It really is.
Yeah, the tunnel and like the difference in the amount of time that you can spend in there. Like you take someone with 30 minutes and you can teach them to be stable on their belly, and then you just take it up orders of magnitude up to like thousands and thousands of hours, some of these coaches these days. And it's truly incredible to see just how comfortable humans can become in pretty much any environment. I mean, you see it the same with swimmers. Obviously, we've had the Olympics recently, and just the incredible way they're kind of moving through the water in some of these events. It defies all logic, and I know there is technique there, but it's like they put a dolphin in a human suit for a while. It's yeah,
Yeah.
looking at it without an insider's understanding is wondrous, and that's kind of part of the appeal of tunnel flying, at least for me, because when you take skydiving, which is it's not really a spectator sport at the end of the day. Like you can watch videos on a GoPro, but it doesn't really bring the essence of what we do to the people. But tunnel kind of does. It puts you right in front of like first timers and anyone else coming to visit facility, and they can see what the result of thousands and thousands of hours can do to the human body, and give you this kind of understanding of the air in a different way that we've never really been able to experience in the sport up until quite recently with
Sure.
the kind of the
Well,
more tunnels being built around the world.
tunnels also makes it a lot more accessible in that not only can you see it happening firsthand, but there's not a lot of money and the potential for death hanging over your head to go, do that one thing that you've only seen on a TV screen. Now you're looking at, Auntie Mary that's on the other side of that glass with a huge grin on her face going up and
Exactly.
down, with an instructor, and you can realize very quickly that if you have the time and money, you can eventually do all those things, which is one of the reasons I'm not bitter about incredibly talented tunnel flyers, because I understand that with enough time and money, I could get damn good. I just don't have either.
Yeah. It's
So
okay. Me neither. That's why I
er,
became an instructor.
that's the way it goes, right? So let's jump back a bit to skydiving. So you said that you were already coaching by the time you got your degree, getting out of college, and obviously knew you wanted to go kind of do the jumping life for a little while. Was this about when your parents started having buyer's remorse?
It definitely took a long time for them to really see skydiving as a potential alternative career. Like I think they'd definitely seen me progressing into engineering from quite an early age, and when all of a sudden that kind of went out the window. Credit where credit's due. They were super supportive, but I could definitely tell they were kind of like waiting for the honeymoon period to end, or the kind of infatuation with it to change. And when it never really did, they've really embraced it, and they've been super supportive of everything I've been able to do with it. But honestly, it's kind of their fault I got into it. Like they set me off in the early days when I was 4, showing me skydiving. They got all the
Yeah.
movies and things, and then like when I was growing up, like the reason I was kind of coaching free flying angles from like even my early days in the career was I think probably down to the amount of time I spent as a gymnast and a platform diver. So I was doing gymnastics for like 8 years and like springboard and platform diving for another six, pretty much all the way through school. And that gave me a lot of body awareness, which meant I could pick things up quite quickly. It's been a really, really valuable tool. And I'm also quite a lazy person, so I kind of knew I'm not one of those people who can go to the gym every day, and I knew that was never really going to happen. So it kind of incentivized me to find a job and a career that I kind of have to be constantly working out in order to do my job every day. So
Sure.
that's how I motivate myself to stay in shape as well.
Nice. Well, the gymnast and the diving thing seems to be a relatively common thread in tunnel flying. There's a number of tunnel flyers that I've talked to with a pretty substantial gymnastics background, and it's that body awareness, right?
Exactly. Yeah, it's the understanding of knowing without looking at your legs what your legs are doing and exactly the shape that they're in. It's something that is there's a lot of crossover skills there, even down to being able to understand how to balance yourself, because so much of flying does come down to balance, whether you're leaning your weight towards your head end or leaning it down towards your leg end, creates very different movement types. And that's something that, although it might not be in the same way, we've been practicing for a very long time. I pissed off quite a lot of my friends when I finally got around to learning head down. From Rosie, she and I were always really competitive in our early days, so we were like learning to. We got our A licenses together. We were learning to sit fly together, and then she decided she wanted to learn head down one day, and I did not have the money to do any more than like, I don't know, half an hour, 40 minutes of coaching. So she bought a couple of hours when I think it was at the British symposium. Basically, they had a cheap rate going on. So she bought a couple of hours. I bought an hour, and then we booked in with Killer Adam Matacola, who was like one of the best coaches in the UK at the time. And I got in and did, I think, within about 20 minutes of trying to fly head down, I was carving and switching and laying out and things like that. So I pissed off a lot of people with that. But I just told them that like, I've been training head down for 12 years previously. I just wasn't doing it in the wind tunnel.
Sure. Well, now for something like that, I got to the point where, and I'm not a talented tunnel flyer at all, but I would get up off my head off the net, and I never did get to transitions. But I would imagine at some point it really is like a switch getting flipped, because everybody that I've seen get it goes from I have no fucking clue how to stay there to they're on their head and they're staying on their head, and now they're working transitions. So is it like that for most people?
It really is. Yeah. There's it's not so much a skill. Like your body, if you just hold a daffy shape, it doesn't even have to be a good one. Naturally, if you just hold that shape and throw yourself out of the plane, you're going to end up more or less head down. That all of your weight in your body is kind of, or at least for most people, is centered kind of in their upper torso. So as long as you're spreading your legs and you're getting lift on those, you basically turn yourself into a shuttlecock shape. So
Badminton birdie
the
for
actual
Americans.
yes, yeah, exactly. Do you guys call it badminton over there, or
Badminton birdie. Yeah, I don't. Most Americans, at least I think most Americans wouldn't know shuttlecock.
shuttlecock? We have weird words in in this
Yeah,
side of the world.
you invented
But
the language, so it's yours to do.
yeah, very true. But yeah, the actual shape itself is not that difficult to fly. Like, I tell people that head down is the most natural way for humans to fly. It's when you know how to do it, it's all you will want to do the whole time because it's so easy. But getting to the point where you can balance that is just a matter of time. And everyone, it feels like crap for the first however long it might take, but there's this clicking moment which comes at various different points for people, but you can see it immediately. All of a sudden, rather than like fighting with someone to hold them in place, you can feel all the tension in the grips just like melt away. And it's like you've been flying them, and then all of a sudden they're taking control of the wheel, and they just start doing it for themselves. And honestly, it's one of my favorite feelings
I
in
was
the
gonna
sport.
say that's
That
got to be
stoke
fucking
moment.
awesome.
It really is, yeah. And everyone reacts differently, but you get a lot of like wide-eyed, shocked faces, like, "I'm doing it! It's happening!"
So
And
with especially with people coming from a skydiving background, like I went as a skydiver, I learned how to free fly in the air. I didn't have the opportunity to do it in the tunnel, and I
yeah,
thought as a skydiver I can free fly, so obviously I'm going to be able to go in the tunnel. Maybe I'll move around a little bit, but it shouldn't be that hard. But the idea of flying, free flying without that container is also a very alien thing. Like the body
it
positions to
is.
maintain a powerful sit fly are completely different in a tunnel to me than they are in the sky. I would never shrug my shoulders back and arch my back the wrong way. And so it's
Yeah.
very strange. Do you find that you have to really work extra hard with skydivers because we're fighting so much?
Yes and no. It depends on like bad habits that are sometimes developed in the sky can be quite hard to break out of. So some people who have learnt to sit fly in the sky, you tend to get that like classic position of like really wide knees, a bit leant forwards on the chest, and the arms out super far behind, just to kind of deal with the burble of the rig. Whereas when we're teaching people in the tunnel, it's and you don't have the rig disturbing the airflow, we can really um, force people to not fly the arms and instead get kind of relaxed with it. Fly the big surfaces, the torso, the shoulders, the head. And when they have an understanding of that, and then you take it to the sky and throw a rig on it, there's a little bit of kind of translating it to the sky, but the physics are still the same. It's still the same wind hitting your body. So when you kind of sub out the lift that you were getting on the back of the shoulders when you're flying in the tunnel and realize that it's the same lift, you're just getting it kind of on the back of your rig that's keeping you sat up. Then all of a sudden you have people who are able to fly and not have their arms all the way back here, but they can take them in front, do double grips with people, and kind of I've tried to teach as many people in the tunnel as I can, even just for a little bit, because it really helps get rid of kind of habits that naturally build up in the sky when you're trying to learn something with a rig on your back. It's
Sure.
you can either do a lot of work later on, or you can do a little bit of work in the tunnel, kind of early days, and it saves a bunch of time later on,
Well, and
in my opinion.
the biggest thing that I've noticed with the tunnel is how much more efficient the flying is. Um, and the greatest way to know that that's the case is watching a bigger student struggle to get off the net in a sit fly and his instructor in a full-on fucking stand-up carving around him. And to
Yeah,
realize that holy shit, yeah, there's a better way to do that.
yeah, the efficiency is nuts. But at the end of the day, like funnel coaches are really lazy people. Like we want to fly and use as little energy as possible. Like when I'm coming and doing camps over in Finland, I'll be flying 5 or 6 hours a day with people. And if I compare that to like a day of coaching with people in the sky, where I'm maybe in free fall for 5, 6 minutes throughout an entire day. It just doesn't, you're not forced to use your muscles in the sky in the same way that you are when you're flying lots and lots of time in the tunnel. So we naturally gravitate towards ways of flying things that are as easy as possible and use the absolute minimum amount of energy in the smallest number of muscles. So
Sure.
I think that's where a lot of the positions and the flying styles that are developing these days are coming from, is just us wanting to be able to keep flying as much as possible without getting absolutely wrecked.
I love that you basically just said all the best flyers got that way because they're fucking lazy.
They are fucking lazy, all of
That's awesome. I love that. I'm gonna throw that out there to for future guests for sure.
Oh, I'm
So
gonna get so much hate for that.
yeah, no, I love it. So talk me through your personal progress because you obviously you're very passionate about the coaching and stuff, but you went from college into deciding you were going to work into the sport and then obviously onto competition levels. So how did that look for you?
So I never really had any plans to compete in skydiving. I did a lot of competition in diving and in gymnastics, and I didn't do very well, if I'm quite honest. It was not my forte. But all those kind of crap competitions I did in the early days have actually served me quite well these days because half of competing is the mental side of it, being able to deal with the stress of being in that environment and wanting to perform well. So it wasn't until I moved to Finland and started running Aeronautica that I actually got kind of pushed into competing by my partners. They saw me just demo flying all the time, and in the UK, the freestyle competition that they do at nationals is a much kind of reduced version of the international standard. So, like if you go and compete freestyle at the Worlds, you need to be able to make a free routine, set it to music if you want. And then there are compulsory rounds as well with like I think 6 different moves that for a beginner tunnel flyer are really, really difficult to do. There, it's a really high standard to meet for most people. But what I really like about the UK is their nationals. They just completely do away with the compulsory rounds, and instead they have people just come along with a 1 minute free routine for everyone to watch. So you don't really have to put that much training and effort in to just show people what you can do. So I think in like 2017 or 2018, I was planning on going back to the UK for the UK Nationals anyway, just to see some friends and watch. And I got pushed to enter freestyle super last minute. I think I came up with a routine like the day before we flew to the competition. Um, and yeah, went along and ended up winning that competition and did the same again the next year. And it kind of came to the realization after a while that I kind of enjoy freestyle flying. It's not nice to kind of show it off to people. And because at that point I was then kind of qualified to go and compete at the Worlds, I then forced myself to learn all the compulsory moves and actually start kind of spending a bit of time and effort on learning how to really compete well in freestyle. And that's kind of where it grew from, really. So it never came. It was never part of the plan. It just kind of happened by accident, really, because I love demo flying and blasting around the tunnel. But yeah, it's a nice way to show off what you can do to people.
I can definitely understand how you've ended up grinding up against a few people when basically that story boils down to I kind of fell into a competition and won it. I
Yeah,
get
I'm not making myself any favors here.
I get it. No, but it's kind of funny too because for as much shit as we talk as skydivers, it's mostly always in good fun and it always comes with an incredible level of respect. I mean, and this is something actually that I still to this day have to try and explain to my wife because she's not a skydiver. She's not in the industry at all. She doesn't understand the sometimes horribly insulting culture of air sports. And that, it's difficult to explain. No, no, no. They said those horrible things about me because they like me. If I'm not being insulted, then I get worried.
Exactly. That's the time where you need to look at yourself and go, like, why aren't people giving me shit? Maybe I'm doing something wrong and I need to work on myself a little bit.
Absolutely. Now, I wanted to get back to you spent a couple of years here in Finland, and before I moved here, I had no idea that there was much of anything in way of the sport. But
Mm.
Aeronautica, the tunnel that's about an hour and a half outside of Helsinki, is like one of the most popular spots in Europe for you guys to come do camps.
It is, yeah. It's an incredible facility, and It was unfortunately shut down for a few years. Back when I worked there, it was under different ownership, and it was built back in the days when there was still a lot of traffic between Helsinki and St. Petersburg. So I think the plan was when they first built it that they were on this kind of new main road between the two of them. And then pretty much the day they opened their doors for the first time, the ruble crashed and all of that traffic just kind of stopped. So it never had a huge amount of first-time customers coming through, and eventually it went bankrupt. But now it's been bought by a new company with a really fresh vision, and they've seen what they're doing in like tunnels like Fly Spot in Poland, where they're able to get the prices really, really cheap, and they've just dedicated themselves to making it one of the go-to places for skydivers and pro flyers. Because you, other than going over to like one of the Russian tunnels, you can't get cheaper time than in Finland at the moment.
Sure. Well,
Um,
and the original ownership was Russian, was it not?
it was, yeah, it was a Russian oligarch.
Yeah.
Can't remember his name, but
Because I
yeah,
mean, the facility itself is beautiful. It's got the tunnel, it's got the big wave pool, it's got the restaurant. I mean, it's an enormous facility.
yeah,
But the first time I went out there, I was actually going to visit Nomers, and Rob were both in the tunnel, and
nice.
I was driving on that road, and it's a fucking massive 4-lane backcountry road with nobody on it because the border's closed.
Exactly.
So
Yeah, it's a road to nowhere,
yeah,
literally.
it's a 1.5 hour private road to a wind tunnel, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really bizarre place, but I absolutely loved working there. It was such an incredible time because I went from having maybe 5 or 6 hours of tunnel time and plenty of jumps to becoming an instructor there and then the chief instructor. And it taught me so much, not just about flying, but about kind of managing and kind of dealing with people and coaching. It was a really bizarre place to spend 2 years of my life because we basically just hid in the cabin in the woods for 2 years, went to the tunnel on our off days when there was like no one there, and just flew a ton of time in this incredible facility. Like it's 5 star, and especially now they're opening up the bunk rooms and things to give people accommodation options nearby. You can fly, you can eat in the restaurants, go to the surf machines like you mentioned. Like there's so many awesome things to keep people occupied out there that they're doing a really good job, and it makes me very happy to go and run tunnel camps out there now.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was so surprised when I started to find out how many people I knew were coming through here. I had I want to say what 6 months ago, 8 months ago, had Jimmy McCarthy on because he was out here running
Nice.
a tunnel camp, and so it's all the usual suspects that were everywhere else. All of a sudden, are showing up in my backyard. It's fucking fantastic.
It's awesome, right? Yeah,
It,
I love it. It's I'll go along for a tunnel camp, and then there'll be like three of my best mates who are also coaches who are all out there at the same time, and we'll go and shred after we're done coaching in the evening, and be able to do a bunch of fun flying for ourselves. It's yeah, it's a really unique place.
for sure. So, looking down the road, what's your say 5 year and 10 year plan? Because you're still a very young guy, so you've got a lot of time ahead of you.
Yeah, that's a very good question. I'm pretty. I don't know what I'm doing for dinner, man. Let alone in 5 years' time. Um, in general, I love what I'm doing right now, and I want to keep doing it for as long as possible. But if there's one thing I've learned, it's that I get bored if I do one thing too much. So I like to spread myself around. Every day should be school day for me. So I still I go and participate at events, make sure I'm learning new things, new ways of coaching people, trying new sports. Recently taking up soaring, like paragliding on the coast on the dunes in the Netherlands, which is incredible.
Yeah.
So you can like go along to the beach for a day and literally not touch the ground for like 6, 7, 8 hours if you want to.
Amazing.
It's fantastic. It's literally just endless swoops and toe drags. So that's been really fun to pick up. But yeah, in terms of like a 5, 10 year plan, I'd like to still be doing this as much as I can, but hopefully I've tried some other things. Maybe traveled a little bit more. I'm always trying to get to new countries each year. This year I got to China and Asia for the first time, which was really cool. So yeah, hopefully still load organizing, still coaching, but probably have my finger in a few different pies as well.
Well, and both sports seem to be branching off in directions that I would not necessarily have predicted along the way. Soaring or speed flying being one of the big ones that I've seen more and more jumpers peeling off and going back to using their canopy as a way to get safely to the ground, and then saving the sporty stuff for the ground launching that they're doing, which
Exactly.
is a huge switch. It really
It
is.
is.
And it's
Yeah,
terribly
it's
appealing. I actually was just talking, I think, to Lori about, I think the only way that I see an air sports getting into the Olympics and anytime soon is going to be a swooping version that's now going to be done with ground launching instead of skydiving.
honestly, I think you might be right. Yeah, I don't think there's the mass market appeal or
No.
the kind of being able to actually bring it to an audience in a meaningful way in tunnel flying or in skydiving at the moment. But yeah, I think you might be right. Like the sort of sports where they can kind of ground launch and do runs down a hill, like I don't know, downhill mountain biking, and have people kind of along the route.
Yep.
That would be a spectator sport for people for sure, and I think it'd be
Well,
interesting to see where it goes.
for sure. Yeah, I just had Jason Moletsky was out visiting me for a few days here, and we got on that conversation, and we both agreed that skydiving as a sport in the Olympics doesn't seem feasible, if for no other reason, put the fatality stuff to the side. You can't watch a guy climb into an airplane and then fly off in the distance, and then 20 minutes later, that's that guy doing something you don't
Yeah,
quite understand. But if you can watch that same guy on the same hill that the Olympic ski jumpers are off of, ground launching from there, running courses and swooping at the bottom, that's accessible and it's understandable in a very easy way for the general public to grip onto.
exactly. Yeah, it puts it right in front of people. There's no waiting for a ride to altitude. There's no yeah, watching tiny little dots moving around in the sky, and maybe being able to live stream some footage again, just watching
Sure,
GoPro footage.
sure.
So yeah, no, I think you're right. I'm intrigued to see someone pick that up and develop it into an idea where we can actually kind of reasonably think about getting it into the Olympics as a sport.
For sure.
Tunnel
Well,
flying is probably the closest at the moment, but again, you can't really just build a multi-million-dollar facility for just tunnel flying. Like if they're going to spend that much money, it has to be for a huge part of the games, and
sure.
tunnel just isn't that at the moment.
Oh, I agree with you, but I also push back just a little bit in that the tunnels are becoming so prevalent everywhere that now it would not be difficult to have countries with multiple choices. I mean, for fuck's sake, there's two tunnels in Finland. You
That's a
know,
very good point. Yeah,
so you
use the
almost
facilities that are already there.
yeah, you almost have the infrastructure, and granted, the crowd sizes are not going to be that big, but I mean, they were surfing in Tahiti for the Olympics this year, and
This is true. Yeah, for
you know,
French Olympics and
yeah,
yeah.
so I mean, I think that there's a chance now because there's so many more sports coming into the Olympics that are non-standard. I mean, come on, breakdancing.
I think we've all seen the videos of that now. But
Do you know they've actually they've already taken it off the schedule for 2028?
have they really?
Yeah.
That's such a shame. Like the other break dancers in the competition, no one's talking about them. And I watched some of the routines; they were incredible. Like they're athletes,
Yeah,
and they've been upstaged by a meme. Basically, it's a
pretty
really
much.
sad day
Pretty much.
for that sport.
Oh yeah, if
But
you Google breakdancing Olympics, there's only one video coming up.
exactly, yeah. The
All that
internet
being
age, man.
said, it was pretty fucking funny.
It was.
So
Yeah, there's a reason everyone's watching it.
absolutely. So again, 5 to 10 years, you're just kind of winging it and having fun with it. But I mean, potentially, there's a lot of longevity in these sports.
I think so. Yeah, like this is all my friends who I knew in gymnastics and diving, they've been out of those sports for the better part of a decade now. Whereas like in tunnel flying and skydiving, we're still kind of in our prime. And I know I coach guys who are still competing well at a high level in their 60s and their 70s. So I'm very excited to be part of a sport where there is the possibility to keep doing this for such a long time, because the peak physical prowess is not as important to competing at a high level in this sport as it is in others. So I
Sure.
think we're very lucky to have that as such an open opportunity for everyone.
Sure, and I mean, especially if it's the type of flying that you're talking about, it again boils much more down to finesse than it does, muscle. You can't muscle the air, you have to finesse it. And so
Exactly.
unless you're like me and you were a meat hauler chucking drogues for, 8,000, 9,000 tandems and beating the shit out of yourself, potentially you're going to get through it with a lot less physical stuff than guys like me. Speaking of, especially at your age with the level of flying that you've been doing, how do you find physically it affects you? Does it negatively affect you? What do you do to counteract any negative stuff?
So I just ticked over to 30 last year, and my body hurts all the time now. Everyone told me when I get into my 30s, it's just pain, and they weren't lying. Um, but yeah, I find the nature of the sport means that I a lot of what I do, especially like in the tunnel, is about kind of oozing calm, translating that calm to my students. So if they see a calm coach, there'll be a calm flyer, and with calmness comes a lot of benefits. So I definitely came up through the tunnel instructor route, wrestling with first timers and just absolutely beating the shit out of my body. And these days, when I'm mostly focusing on the coaching, if I'm having to wrestle with someone in order to get them to fly something, then that's probably indicative to me that there's some bit of understanding that they don't have yet, and there's going to be a better way to teach them that particular move than just holding them in the wind and hoping for it to work out. So I found as I've progressed and developed as a coach, I've also been able to take a lot of the wear and tear off of my body. Like there are still mistakes, and part of the job as a coach in the tunnel is to save people when they make mistakes and prevent crashes, and that often means me using my body as a meat crash pad for people diving at the glass. So I try to avoid those, and you try to read the student, see if they're at the right stage to be learning a back layout or whatever the move might be. So all of it is kind of focused on helping them progress as fast as safely possible, both for their benefits and for my own as well. Because if I'm broken, I can't coach anyone.
Sure, work smarter, not harder.
Exactly. Yeah,
I uh,
and I find
I
it's the same as skydiving too, to be
for
honest.
sure.
Because yeah, especially with like the number of jumpers that we have these days who are looking to learn to angle fly. Like coaching angles, beginner angles, is probably the scariest thing I do with my day. I feel like I'm just putting a big old target on the back of my head and then telling people to chase it. So that's definitely the thing that I'm the most cautious about, is teaching people the safe way to do it, and also helping them understand the risk factors involved, because one big crash can put you out. So making sure people know the risks of what they're doing when we're working with these quite insane speeds and insane closing speeds as well. It's really important for people to understand the risks of what they're doing, so that they're more likely to maybe not go 100% power, bring it back to like 70 or 80, and then have a bit more control there in their range.
Sure. Well, and nowadays too, the angle flying, it's not what used to just be a tracking dive. Tracking dive was you jumped out, picked a direction, and pegged it and chased everybody around. But now
Yeah.
angle flying is so dynamic, going from head down to head up to this way to that, all over the place, as well as throwing in a few fucking style moves in the middle of it all. So it's got to be head on a swivel kind of territory.
It really does. Yeah, you have to keep the blinkers open the whole time because you're not just focusing on chasing the leader, but you're also trying to understand where the other flyers are in your group, what they're doing, knowing what the next move coming up is, because maybe you're going to have to cut the corner to catch up with the group again. And understanding that cutting that corner means that you and other members of the group are going to be tracking in basically completely different directions for a while. So having that kind of big picture view of the whole group and the whole dive is a really important part of it, especially as we progress into these faster jumps with more kind of intricate transitions. You really have to know the people that you're jumping with and earn their trust by showing them that you can be a safe skydiver, you can stay in your slot no matter what. And if you're not, then it's normally time to say, hey, maybe I shouldn't be in this group. I should go into a lower group. And I have huge amounts of respect for people who are willing to put their hand up and say, it's like, yeah, this is I can't be the safe skydiver I want to be on these sorts of jumps. So
Sure.
I
That
wish more
used
people
to
did it.
Honestly, that used to be my default setting, was walking into a group jump if I'd been invited on one and go, I am the one that's most likely to fuck this up. If for no other reason than if I got it right, I felt happy, but if I got it wrong, I told everybody.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like we're all human, we're all going to make mistakes, but being able to be open to that is such an important skill, especially as a skydiver. Like as I've come up through the sport as an organizer and kind of met other coaches and organizers and kind of being able to take them off the pedestal that I kind of held them on in my head, seeing them make mistakes, own up to mistakes, be able to kind of deal with them in a constructive way. It's been really helpful for me. So now, like start of the day, I'll be telling my groups like, "Hey guys, we're going to do our best here, but you're going to make mistakes. I'm probably going to make mistakes. We're all here to learn, and we're going to do that together. And I will hold myself accountable to you if you hold yourself accountable to me as well. So then
Sure.
it's not a blame game. It's everyone trying to get better together, and it kind of helps take the onus off of people, so they're less worried about kind of owning up to mistakes and feeling like they need to put on a certain show for
Oh,
people.
sure. Well, and that's turned out to be one of the best parts about doing this podcast for all these years, is especially having the high-end, well-known skydivers coming on the show, telling about the times they fucked it up, telling about the times that they were scared or they did something wrong, and not talking about it with any level of shame, but talking about it as a learning experience. And people really love that. I love knowing that the guy that I look up to was nervous at some point in his career, or is still nervous to this day about specific jumps or this or that. It humanizes them in a way that makes it again accessible. I know I can learn to do what he's doing because he's been where I am.
Exactly. Yeah, it reminds everyone that we're all human, and like as much as we want to go and learn from people and like have a good time with them, if we see them not as some infallible person, but like an actual human being who is making mistakes exactly the same as us, then it allows us to take the shame away from making mistakes. Obviously, there is a little bit of shame involved because we have to beat ourselves up the right amount to learn from mistakes so that we
Sure.
don't repeat them again. But being able to, own up to things is a really important skill in life, and
Sure.
especially in skydiving, where if someone isn't owning up, like sometimes you get problem people who, no matter what's happening on a jump, they will always be blaming everyone else and pointing the fingers wherever else they might decide. And as much as I can, I try to chat to those people and just say, it's like, hey, like, it's okay. You don't have to understand this now, but go home and think about it later. But maybe looking, even if you don't think it was your fault now, go and sit with it for a while. Ask yourself what you could have done differently to avoid this situation from happening, and maybe you'll come and learn some lessons from it. But mindset is everything.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, it's both being able to learn and progress with your own skills in the sport, but it's also keeping everybody safe. Which, at the end of the day, as long as everybody's safe, we all live to tomorrow to try it again.
Exactly. Yeah, live to jump another day.
Yeah, man. So, with all that said, tell me what events you've got coming up. The season is still going strong where you're at, and then please tell everybody if they want to come jump with you, get some coaching from you. How do they find you?
Awesome. So it's been a really busy summer so far. Next week I'm off to Germany for Summer Spring Boogie in Hildesheim. Then I think a couple of weeks after that, we've got the head-up record attempts for the Netherlands. So I'm really, really looking forward to that. I'll be, I think the first time we'll be attempting a head-up record in like 8 years. So that's going to be fun. Then we have Shark Boogie in the Netherlands as well. And after that, it's kind of getting into the winter season. So I've already got camps planned in Aeronautica for October, November, and December. And they're already filling up really fast. So I'm getting stoked to be back out there again. And maybe we'll get to do some flying together as well. You never know.
Well, if nothing else, we'll make sure and grab a beer.
Yeah, for sure, man. Absolutely.
So what's your socials? How do people find you on social media?
I'm most prevalent on Instagram. So Connor Figg, at Connor Figg on Instagram. And if anyone's ever interested in joining me there, that's probably the best place to get a hold of me. I'm on Facebook as well. Or my website is serendipityfreefly.com. www.
Awesome. Connor, I'll tell you what, man, I know you've been super busy. You carved out a little bit of time to sit down and talk with me, and I'm so glad that we were able to make it happen. So thank you so much for sitting down.
It was my absolute pleasure, man. Thanks for inviting me on, and I hope we can do it again one day.
We'll see you in October.
Thank you, buddy.
Well, there you have it. Another episode of the Lunatic Fringe podcast brought to you as always by, well, wait, not as always, actually. Brought to you now by Gyro. Formerly known as NZ Aerosports, you'll head to gyro.com for their next level line of canopies. By Pussfoot, the Extreme Sports Collective. Head over to pussfoot.com to check it out. By Summit Parachute Systems, check out summitparachutesystems.com to talk to Jarrett Martin and the gang about kick-ass pilot rigs, rigging courses, and more. By Flyaway Indoor Skydiving, go to flyawaytn.com and check out all the cutting-edge stuff to come. By Pure Spectrum CBD, head to purespectrumcbd.com to check out their wide range of CBD products. And as for us, head to the lunaticfringepodcast.com to listen to any of the hundreds of episodes currently available, hit the link for our YouTube channel, pick up your copy of the Lunatic Fringe book or The Accidental Stripper, and get a sneak peek at upcoming guests. Once again, thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.